We've consolidated our holds over Anatolia, the Balkans, and we got 14.5 million Greeks out of 15.9 million population, but we're deep within the Little Ice Age, which is completely ravaging our nation, whilst the Columbian Exchange has the opposite effect, as we're allowed to bring new goods from the New World and get filthy rich off of that. We're also up to 7 cabinet members, we're 4 out of 5 hegemonies, and we've entered the late stage for advances. Make sure to use my link to grab EU5 for yourself, would really help out the channel massively. And don't forget to subscribe and leave all notifications on so you know exactly when the next video is coming out. Boys and girls, welcome to the 1600s. The age of reformation is about to finish and the age of absolutism is about to begin. The world is completely different from previous parts of this campaign, and we have a lot to talk about. Also, the more recent patch has made some changes, including the fact that you only need 30,000 population to create a city instead of 50,000. So all of the towns that we have that have 30,000 population will be upgraded to cities instantly before Paradox changes their mind and they bring it back up to 50,000, because I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it is kind of broken, the fact that you can make a city from 30,000. 50,000 felt a lot more balanced. 30,000 is just really, it's free money, man. I mean, I'm gonna literally double my economy from creating all these cities right now. Oh, and that means we also have the very first city we can get on the western coast of our empire. Oh my god, 29,893. We're so close and yet so far from upgrading the city, it's crazy. I will try and prioritize upgrading the capitals of provinces first before anything else. Suffice they have the population. Nicopolis, for example, is the capital of the Karahisar province, but it only has 12,000 population, so not enough to upgrade it. As a side note, we've got our entire army now and the border with the Mamluks, because we're getting ready to attack them again. This will be a lot easier of a war because we've got about 200,000 professional soldiers, whilst the Mamluks still do not have that many professional soldiers. They only have about 20,000 professional units, so we're gonna literally wipe the floor with them. And I've also been testing something out and I like the results of those tests. Look at my maritime presence. It's basically close to 100 everywhere, including on the islands. So I merged all of my ships. Instead of getting 20 ships and a small fleet and assigning that to 4 locations, I just merged all of my fleet, like all of it. Just one big stack, like a big death blob of ships. And I assigned it the entirety of my nation, right? All of the coastlines. And look at the results. It basically maxes out the maritime presence within a tile in just a couple of months. And then it moves on to the next tile and the next tile and the next tile. And because it has such high amount of maritime presence because of the size of the fleet, it's about the same speed as if I had smaller 20 frigate stacks. So this way it's a lot easier for me because during war I don't need to worry about merging all my fleets before the war and everything. So this is kind of like the lazy version, but hey, if it works, it works. And it seems to be working, guys, because look at my maritime presence. It's still freaking super high up, okay? Also, I've tested even more things with the subjects, and I've realized that having a subject the size of Sivas is just not smart, because we want to get the bonus from them being smaller, right? Right now, Sivas is much smaller, so we're getting 113 speed of integration increase, but if they were to be the size of Erzurum, we would get like 200 something integration speed. So from now on, all my subjects are going to be 1 province size, no more than 1 province. I'm going to have like 30 subjects basically all over here after we conquer the Mamluk lands. All right, we got our religious war. We've co-belligerate the Tunisians. It is time to declare the war. Also going to be raising all of our conscripts too, but we only have 38,000, so I'm only going to keep them around as defensive units in case the Mamluks decide to land anything here, although I don't think they will be able to because our fleet should wipe them out easily. And we're also going to use this army here to siege down the little holdout of the Tunisians in Sardinia. The reason we co-belligerated Tunis is because we also want to grab from them quite a few provinces, including the Sardinian, the Majorcan, and the Castilian / Aragonese holdings. I don't know how they managed to, but they got some holdings in Iberia, which obviously is Rightful Roman clay, everybody knows. We're going to be able to get a lot of little war score from wiping out these small stacks. And yes, I will be executing all of these prisoners, even though I get extra antagonism. I don't care. We don't want to have to fight these units again in the future now, do we? Oh, we have spotted the main Mamlukian army, all professional soldiers. Look at these brave men, and really just men. There's no women in there. Suffice to say, we're going to be wiping the Schnitzelum with them. Let's go ahead and bring in the reinforcements, an extra 40,000, just to make sure we completely kill them off. Because, hold on a second, what is going on here? Why do they have slightly more morale than I have? Interesting. They got more discipline than me too, but they have less military tactics. Okay, goes without saying, we're still gonna win, so I don't really give much of a schnitzel. And the fact that they're staying in the battle for as long as they are staying in the battle means that they're gonna lose even more of their professional soldiers. Look at that, we wiped out 4 times more than they killed of our units. Also, we lost control of Sardinia, unfortunately, so we're gonna have to grab control back if we can. Here we go, another big battle that we're about to win. Oh, this was huge. We literally wiped out 10,000 of their units compared to the 3,000 they wiped out. Just take a good look at the difference that professional armies make, right? Overall, so far, we lost 30,000 soldiers. They lost literally more than double what we did. Same goes for ships. They lost about more than half of their fleet already. We've made so far a little bit of an exchange. We've basically conquered the entirety of the Syrian areas. We got 38% war score actually, but we lost all of our islands. I don't know how, I just cannot seem to catch up to the Mamluk fleets. They're fast, man. They're really fast. I cannot, the second I see them, it's too late. They already landed their troops. So my plan is basically march on to Cairo, get 100% war score from that, and just piece them out afterwards with that. One more thing I want to do is continue my exploration efforts. So we have one of our explorers that went missing, which means we're going to replace him, and we're going to start exploring the North Atlantic. Make sure we assign the closest port to that, which in our case is Boa Vista, and assign one of our admirals. Exploring the New World is not necessarily the most beneficial thing for us because we're playing as the Byzantines, but I'm just curious honestly to see what is happening in the New World. I want to see who's the top dog over there and what we might need to worry about most from the Castilians and the French and so on. Right now what I'm seeing from the coastline of Africa, actually, it kind of feels like the French are the top dog. Their colony of Bassa is massive, and I really mean massive. I mean, they got 1.7 million population, out of which 700,000 are French and 100,000 Portuguese, which tells me that they probably conquered lands from the Portuguese. Portugal also has a Guinea coastal viceroyalty, and then we got the Moroccans are colonizing here too, the Castilians. The Genoese had a colony. I don't see it anymore. I'm assuming it got wiped out. Nope, this is the one. Junk River is still around. Meanwhile, we only have the Cape Verde islands. That's it. The time it took us to colonize these 5 insignificant islands that have basically no population, the same amount of time the Castilians and the French grabbed almost like 1 million in pops from the African coastline. To put things into perspective, this area has like how many pops? 1,000, 1,000 again, and the biggest island has 1,165. Yeah, we are pathetic when it comes to colonization. But you know what, we're not pathetic? This. Look at this. Look at this beautiful repossessed areas that will once again be Roman. Just give me a few wars, like 10, 15 wars. All right, boys, it took a few years, that's for sure, but we've basically crushed the Mamluks left and right. Look at that. We occupy the entirety of the Syriac areas and their capital. Now, the problem is that we haven't focused on the Tunisians at all, so they've been just going crazy, but I don't need to focus on the Tunisians because I'm just going to piece out the war leader, the Mamluks, and I'm going to use them to grab Tunisian holdings via the main peace deal, including the 3 areas in the Iberians that I wanted to. Plus, we're grabbing most of Antakya, Aintab, and all the other parts that we really wanted to grab a while back. There's going to be a little bit of a coalition, though, to be fair. Quite a lot, actually. But the biggest one in this coalition would actually be the Mamluks, so we don't really need to worry about the rest of these insignificant little Schnitzeldorfs in this area. Now, that being said, we lost a lot of soldiers in this war. We lost like 120,000. So once we get back to our holds, we're going to be using the manpower to replenish the soldiers that we've lost, and we're going to continue to create more religious casus bellis on the Mamluks. Next up is going to be Hims and Libna, or Lebanon. Same here with the Tunisians. We're going to get more casus bellis against them too. And for the next war, I'm going to have a dedicated army to fight on the Tunisian front, because I was just letting my subjects fight the Tunisians, and that was honestly not the smartest idea. Now, for the holdings that we got in Iberia, oh my freaking god, what is happening here? Castile is getting its ass handed. Wow. We're going to create some subjects here, actually. I am not going to directly own this stuff. We're going to go to create subject, custom nation, and we're going to create it right over there. Make them a vassal. Remember what I said earlier, that I'm going to create a ton of custom nation subjects? Well, that's happening, boys. We're going to make our very own Alawite nation. So these guys should have Alawite primary culture and Sunni Muslims. So we're going to have to change their religion also. Oh boy, we're going to have a lot of disloyal subjects in a couple of moments because we're in forcing religion on all of them. We also can now build shipyards, so we're going to spam these around, which means we're going to have enough sailors afterwards to double the size of our fleet. Heck, I'm also going to do the same with my subjects, and just in case the Sicilians decide to build their own little fleet. And the late game lumber is also in super high demand, so we're spamming about 200 lumber mills too, which should hold us for quite a bit of time. Our tax base right now is up to 8,114, so we're not doing too bad actually economically. Compared to us, second is the French with 4,200 within Europe at least, and that is literally half of what we have, so we're doing really, really good. Since we fully colonized Cape Verde, we have a few options. We can either form a new colonial subject, the subject of Cape Verde, or we can play as this colonial subject, or we can just keep it a part of us. I'm going to form the colonial subject just to show you guys what that entails. I can rename the colony of Cape Verde to Ludistan. Now, the colony of Ludistan is 5,000 people strong. That's a lot of Ludistaners. Their governor's 89, 89, 36. Oh, come on. That's better than most of my advisors. Also, we've explored a little bit more of the South Atlantic, but we still haven't reached the South American continent. We have to assign someone to explore the North Gaboon and Norland areas in Scandinavia. Apparently, we don't know about Scandinavia either. That begs the question, though, if we don't know about Scandinavia, how do we know that the Vikings come from there? Well, we've got the hiatus of waiting for the truce with the Mamluks. We're going to continue our expansion into the Balkans. Also, I probably should have mentioned I changed over to the 2D map mode. I clicked off the 3D one because it was really impacting my performance, guys. So with the 2D map, it's honestly a lot better, and the PC doesn't overheat. So if you're playing EU5 or if you're planning to play EU5, consider using the 2D map rather than the 3D one. 3D one looks really beautiful, I'm not gonna lie, but 2D one is just more pleasant to not hear an engine roaring right next to me. A new emperor has arrived, and we made him join the Order of St. George, so he's got a little bit more military ability. We also need to marry this gentleman, so let's marry him to someone that's got some decent ability too. Hopefully we get some better kids as consequence, although it's not a guarantee as you'd imagine. And we're gonna assign him as general of one of our armies, just so we increase our crown power a little bit more too. Also, remember how we disallowed nobles from becoming cabinet members? The problem with that is that this is all the cabinet members we got right now. 3 of them. That's it. We don't have many cabinet member options right now, guys. It is a problem. And in order to hire a new cabinet member right now, it costs us 24,000, because this is based off of our tax base, which is pretty high right now. So that's another ticket I'm going to make, because I feel like that's way too expensive. They need to nerf that. Similarly with the cost of court, right now we're paying 1,000 for cost of court without actually investing. If we were to invest, it would be about 3,000 ducats just for the cost of court, which is insane. You probably also guessed it, but yes, we are in fact going to annex the entirety of Bulgaria. Boomio, skibio, skibidi boo, dissolvius patriarchaticus. This was a mistake I should have not made a while back. So if you are playing Byzantium, do what I'm going to tell you right now. When you have the claim CB against the Bulgarians, it's easier and cheaper to grab all of Bulgaria. So use it at that time. Use this conquest CB from that claim you start with and fully annex them in the 1400s. It's going to help you out so much more later on, trust me. Annex Bulgaria and make like 3 different Bulgarian subjects out of one big Bulgaria. And those 3 subjects are going to help you against the Anatolian Beyliks. I promoted one of my family members to head of the cabinet just so I can lose a little bit of legitimacy to show you guys. 2.7 thousand it cost me in cost of court when I actually need to increase my legitimacy. So that is just wild. I'm not even able to have a positive balance when I need to pay for my cost of court. That's not normal. I feel like this really shouldn't be this expensive. I'm paying more for the cost of court than I'm paying for all my armies, and I'm way over the expected army size. 3 times over the expected army size. And yes, I know that there is in fact no penalty you pay when you go over the expected army size. It's not like a land force limit in EU4 is or anything of the sorts. One thing I hate about fighting in the Georgian areas is that during the winter months, I cannot move my units because this is mostly mountainous terrain and you cannot move soldiers in the mountains in winter. So getting half your armies trapped randomly during winters is not ideal. Look at that though. Oh, I really like the sprites, man. This is so beautiful when you see the units fight like that. And check out how much more damage we inflict compared to how much they inflict to us. We're literally inflicting like 4 times more damage than they are. That is wild to see. Those are regular units too. That's not even levies or anything. That's actually regular soldiers they got there. We've also also gotten access to a few more unique buildings from the 4th age, including the barracks, which increases the amount of manpower we get. The barracks is the upgrade for the armory. Armory gives 10 manpower, barracks gives 15 manpower, and the last level, the conscription center, gives 25 in the 6th age. Now, of course, we shall be holding shift and clicking in all of our markets so we can spam the barracks, basically doubling the manpower pool that we're going to get after this. So I'm going to bite my lip and I'll be grabbing roughly half of the Serbian areas. We're grabbing a little bit of money too, and we're making them pay us war reparations. Now, I could have grabbed a lot more, and yes, obviously dissolve the Patriarchate too, but if we go to our antagonism map mode, it is not going good, boys. We're currently improving relations with the Pope and Naples so we can lower antagonism faster with them, but we got to do that with a lot of other nations too, and a lot of them, like Verona, is on the verge here, 34. We're only 16 away from them joining a potential coalition. In the European side of things, we really have to take a chill pill for quite some time. Now, of course, I will be creating another custom subject from the Serbian areas. So I guess we've got Smederevo, Kosovo, and Serbia as the 3 actual main Serbian states. Look how beautiful this is. Isn't this better? Byzantine Serbias are better than independent Serbia. Am I right? Now take a good look, guys, to see how many festival grounds we get by the mid to late game. We already are destroying an insane amount of these. Same for the Pirate Heaven. Just all of these really pile up, and if you hover over these buildings, look at that. They just give chance for pirate and nothing else. These are complete debuff buildings that you have to keep in check as you progress in the campaign. Otherwise, you get overwhelmed later on. Now we've upgraded our ships to the latest model, the Age 4 models. Also, check out the beautiful sprite. I love this. But more importantly, if we go to the maritime presence map mode, we're getting 26 maritime presence per month from our freaking insanely overpowered fleet. So look at this. We got already a blue maritime presence, which is the highest you can have all over the Mediterranean by doing that. Just assigning our fleet to do it, one major fleet all over the place. This is crazy, and it takes out so much of the min-max that I was doing earlier with 20 ships for every 4 tiles. That was way too much. Now also check out how many lumber mills we're building. Yep, we're becoming the lumber supplier of the world. Look at my market too. We have 13,000 market value, and we can stockpile 137,000 food. In Athens, it's only 5,400 market value, and we're actually starved of food. Ooh, that's a bit of an issue. Let's fix that. I'm also going to use my max expand RGO so we get another round of RGO expansion everywhere. We're kind of short on RGOs. We basically maxed out everything now, so we need to rely on advances to increase the amount of RGOs that we got, or the size of the RGOs, better yet. We've also queued up food production plus 10%, unit food consumption reduction, and maximum RGO size plus 10%. So these 3 advances, whenever we finish them, should help us fix a lot of the food issues that we have overall for the 1600s at least. It's going to get worse later with the Little Ice Age around the corner, actually. So maybe I need to stop expanding and focusing on getting ready for that. Oh my god, we actually made a colony and crew? No way. All right, let's create the crew colony, which is this little location here, trapped in between 2 Castilian colonies. It does seem like we've got majority crew with some Greeks, and most of them are Orthodox. Total population is 80,000. Okay, that's actually respectable compared to the one we have in Cape Verde. Now let's look at the map too. We have explored a little bit more. Now we have an idea of where the American continent is, albeit we don't know who exactly owns stuff just yet. As for Asia, we know nothing. That's one thing that I hope they're gonna add at some point. The passive exploration, like in EU4, where you get to learn about Asia by default at some point, because unless you manually do it, it's not gonna happen. And it's a little bit disappointing, I'm not gonna lie. I wish you could do that. I also want to show you guys the cultural map mode. We are honestly just focusing on assimilating everybody with our cabinet members, like continuously. That's all of my cabinet members right there. They're all assimilating. So right now we've got 12.5 million Greeks out of 13.1 million, which means only 600,000 non-Greeks. That's a lot of Greeks. The Bulgarians that we've conquered like a few years back are basically gone. Look at that. We got majority 100% Greek in most of the provinces that we took from from them. Same for the Wallachians. We're slowly becoming the majority in that area too, and we're consolidating what's left of the little footholds of Turkish in Anatolia. After we integrate the Shivas, which should be any moment now, we're gonna have to double down and focus on getting rid of the Turks in the middle part of Anatolia as soon as we can. I've also noticed some weird stuff, like Mongolian is the primary culture not only in our subject here, and I did the subject just because it's Mongolian and it's funny. Orthodox Mongolians of Harput, let's go. But in Satuids are also primary Mongolian culture, and because of that, they have been hard at work making Mongolian the predominant culture in their capital, as well as in the southern holdings that they have. I think they're still working on that though. Armenian is not fully gone. We still have quite a lot of Armenians in the eastern parts to our borders. Georgians quite a lot too. Adhari have also spread, as well as Farsi have consolidated. There are 2.7 million of them. The Egyptians also consolidated. Lower Egyptian is now 7.8 million, whilst the other minorities have almost completely disappeared. I mean, there's barely any Copts, only 1 million Copts left already. Levantines, 2.1 million, a lot of which within our country already, for that matter. Not sure what happened with the Sardinians, but there's only 60,000 of them. Castilians, there's 10 million, most of which are in the colony. Well, no, technically most of which are in Iberia, but a big chunk of which are in the colony still. And the French similarly, 12.1 million. Well, there's actually more Greeks than there are French, but considering the French went heavy colonial, and considering the French are really doubling down on assimilating the various parts of France that are not yet Francian, they're gonna overtake me. They're 100% gonna overtake me. There's gonna be more Francian than Greek any moment now. 8 million English in the meanwhile, as well as Czech, there's 4.2 million. They are becoming the second culture within the Danish land, since the Bohemians owned most of Denmark and Scania. Prussians also consolidated, as did Muscovites, 4 million Muscovites with 3.5 million Novgorods. Ruthenians also 2.8 million, and Astracanians are the dominating horde culture right next to Crimean, which is 1.7 million. Eretnids still exist, because Eretna's still around in this little foothold, as well as the areas that we've conquered and given to our subjects previously too. And in the north, Swedes have almost completely wiped out the various Finnish. The only actual Finnish area is this province here. That's it. It's basically a handful of Finns, so feels bad, man. The age of absolutism is here. We've got 3 different focuses. Again, the admin focus gives surprisingly a lot of really great bonuses, such as extra conversion speed for population, proximity cost minus 10%. Hallelujah. Guys, I hate saying this. I really hate saying this, and I'm not gonna lie to you, but I personally feel like admin focus is the most overpowered for older ages. The proximity cost alone makes such a massive difference. I mean, this proximity minus 10% basically means you're gonna have 100 control in all your core areas by this point after you've researched it. It's that powerful. Monthly development flat plus 0.02 is also huge. Bank interest as well, although let's face it, you're not going to care about that too much because you shouldn't be taking loans. And max literacy plus 10, which means you're going to be able to get more innovation compared to anyone else in the world if you go for this. Whilst diplomatic is not bad, it gives some decent stuff. Subject opinion, antagonism receive minus 20, which is huge if you want to expand a lot. A lot of diplomats, trade capacity, trade efficiency, more income from your vassals and all that, ship repair, blah blah blah. It's a little bit disappointing, I'm not gonna lie. And then the military one are not bad, I'm not gonna lie, they're decent. 5% discipline is pretty good. Control decline 0.2 reduction is huge too. But artillery power is really good also. Manpower plus 10%. Army maintenance literally equates to about 400 ducats in the late game, which is a big amount. Infantry power also plus 10%. It does make your armies really strong, that's true. But if you have the economy from admin, you can just get more soldiers, so you still win the war even if they're slightly weaker than your enemies. So always go admin. I mean, I'm always gonna go admin. It depends, maybe my opinion is gonna change later. And you probably also noticed we now have the Columbian Exchange. This is a situation that triggers once the age of absolutism happens, and you've got 2 options. You can spread a new world good to the old world, or you can spread an old world good good to the Americas. So right now, if we click on spread a new world good, we've got chilies, cocoa, and tobacco. So if we click on Chile and we say click on Anatolia, we've got over here shown all the provinces which we could replace with Chile provinces. So it's not all provinces, keep that in mind. Only within specific provinces you can replace the old world goods with the new world goods. So we're going to replace something that we're not really going to miss much, such as fruit. Fruit I don't really care about. So we're going to change to Chile in Amastris. Amastris is officially our very first province that produces chili. It's at 1 out of 12, so we're going to have to max this bad boy out. And chili, and actually all of the new world goods are going to be in massive demand. So spreading these out right now is probably the best idea. Again, check it out. We can only spread to Guinea cocoa, only to the Crew area we can spread cocoa. It has more to do with where historically it's spread as well as where it actually can grow, I assume. Let's check tobacco as well. Tobacco, as you would imagine, you can pretty much spread in most places. So let's get some tobacco in the Balkans. Do not replace gold with tobacco. Goes without saying, but I'm just saying still, don't do that because you lose the gold. Find whatever trade good is not as important, such as fish. There you go. We're going to replace the fish in oikos. So now max out the tobacco. Boom. We can even get some more tobacco in Anatolia because we all know Anatolians love tobacco, don't they? And again, we can replace like something like fish over in this particular location in Nicomedia. Nicomedia, famous for its tobacco production, clearly. With the age of absolutism, we also have now a new national value: absolutism versus liberalism. Liberalism increases cultural capacity, estate satisfaction, but we don't want that because that's for wussies. We actually want absolutism that increases crown power plus 100%. I cannot express in words how overpowered this value is. So you absolutely need to push for this as soon as you can. We right now only have 0.05 towards absolutism, so we're gonna need to push it towards this more. Favor the ruler gives us push towards absolutism, but we have more things we can do. A lot of different policies that will push us towards absolutism, including secret police, absolute rulership, Leviathan, strict censorship, ruler general. All of these we need to focus on changing our policies towards, and of course cabinet members too. So I'm actually going to assign one of my cabinet members to push towards absolutism. There we go. Now we're going 0.27 towards it, so eventually we're going to get 27 actual absolutism. Now we also have a court and country disaster, which you probably know from EU4. The way that this works is it has a 2% chance of spawning every single month. That's because we've got more than 25 estate power for the crown estate, as well as it is the age of absolutism. So you just have to navigate this disaster. This is something that will stay with you until you just navigate it. No choice about it. Okay, I just checked and Chile is in ridiculously high demand. I'm gonna need more Chile provinces. Now we gotta go super double down on exploration. So we're gonna assign all the available courtiers that we have to explore the rest of the world. We really wanna start making the most out of the new world. Look at that. We got like 15 people already working on exploring the new world. We're gonna assign even more than that. Also, if we go to colonies, we don't have any actual possible colonies to colonize right now because by the 1600s, pretty much it's all taken, right? The coastline's already taken by everybody else, so we're a little bit late, but at the very least, I want to know what's happening. You never know. We might even have some colonies in South America that haven't yet been colonized. Who's to say? Okay, boys, Sivas has been annexed. Let's continue with the annexation of Erzurum next. Instantly starting to annex Erzurum, which is a lot fewer years. Look at that, only 4 years, and we're getting 4.71 annexation progress. That's because it's much smaller and the influence that we have is higher than the cultural tradition of the Eretnids. Now take note, in the current version, something is a little bit unbalanced. Namely, if we enforce Greek as their primary culture, then we get 100% bonus for annexation rather than 50%. So the cultural influence doesn't make much of a difference. It's better to just make them your primary culture. There is a tendency of AI to revert to whatever the major culture is. So even if you make them Greek, they might turn back to Turkish. That's what happened with Konya in the previous part of my campaign. But if the culture is small, like the Eretnid culture or the Alawite culture that we have in the south here, then they should stay as Greek until you annex them. It's a little bit RNG, and it's really up to you. The biggest modifier here is the fact that they're much smaller than us. So we're getting 321% bonus from that alone, making it so much easier for us to annex them. Also, the reason why I said that I'm going to keep all my subjects from now on one province big. That's it. No more big subjects. It's time for Operation Nomotorkios. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to reassign all of our cabinet members that are assimilating in other parts of our country, and we're going to have them all assimilate within the newly annexed areas. Look at that. There's barely any Greeks, and we have to change that. This guy is assimilating the entire area, right? Because of the age ability. So we're going to assimilate the entire area of Cappadocia now, which right now has 53% Greek from the areas that already have been Greekified earlier. I won't lie, I am very, very curious to see how fast these 6 cabinet members will be able to assimilate everything to Greek. So it's 1638 December, and this is almost 100% Turkish. Now, since we've brought over tobacco from the New World, we can spread tobacco to the other adjacent markets that don't yet have it, and we can make a bit of profit off of that. So I think it's time to spread even more tobacco to make even more profit. Capitalize on the fact that there's barely anyone right now that has tobacco brought over. The court and country disaster has triggered. We will bend the knee towards central authority. That means we get plus 20 push towards absolutism, and we lose 50 stability. 9. Well, that's pretty bad, but it is unfortunately what it is. Now, to get rid of this disaster, we need to at least have waited for 10 years, as well as either have 65% plus estate satisfaction with the nobility, clergy, burghers, commoners, and 50 liberalism, or 80 absolutism, as well as less than 11 privileges granted, and 75% estate power for the crown. So, it's not going to be easy. This is going to be a very, very difficult disaster. Now, the cool part is that revoking privileges is pretty much nothing now. It's 2 stability to revoke a privilege for the nobility. Remember, this cost us at the start of the campaign like 180 or something like that. From 180 to 2 stability, it's basically nothing. And that's influenced because of the age of absolutism lowers the cost of revoking privileges. Communalism, which we have quite a few of. Absolutism also lowers it. Scholarly treaties, one of our technologies, and the crown power. So the base cost, which is actually 26 because of the power of the nobility is 6%, gets again multiplied by minus 110% from all of these stacked up, and we can stack up even more of these, so it's basically literally like nothing to revoke privileges, which means it's more doable to actually get the 75% crown power actually, but we lose a lot of the awesome benefits such as the easier time to assimilate pops. One of the reasons we have that is because of the privileges that helps us, so we're gonna have to be very selective with those 11 privileges that we'll be keeping. We don't want to have more than that because we want to go down the crown victory for the court and country disaster. So for example, here we're just going to go ahead and revoke the hunting permits because it's 0.23 stability. 0.23 stability. That is crazy low. But now the peasants are really pissed with us, so we have to keep that in mind. We're going to have a lot of rebellions in this part of the campaign simply from our estates, which is good that we have a massive army because these rebels are not going to be able to do anything against our insanely huge army. Now, seeing as all of my estates are really pissed off, I'm just going to revoke all the privileges now. I revoked already 2 more from the Dinatoi. I expect the rebellions to screw me over anyway, so we might as well fight them up now. Also take note, because we have such low estate satisfaction equilibrium, we're not taxing our estate, so we're losing out on a lot of money. I made the very, very clearly smart decision of getting rid of all the commoner privileges, a couple more of the clergy ones, and I still need to revoke a few more. So what am I doing, guys? What am I doing? What am I revoking? Do we revoke the max literacy for clergy? We can do that, sure. It's not that much of a difference, 5% anyway. I guess also the communalism push is not necessary anymore since we're close to the max out for that one. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We still need to revoke some. Actually, efficiency of cabinet, we have a lot from other sources already, so we might as well revoke this one, which means now we have 11 privileges, right? So that should be enough. But we have 0 satisfaction, which means we cannot even tax these estates. We need at least 1% satisfaction to start taxing the dinatoi, the peasantry, and the clergy. So for the time being, we're taking a little bit of an economic hit. And there you go, as expected and right on time, the civil war has arrived. Let's go ahead and wipe out everybody. So I've had 3 rebellions, well, 3 civil wars, one after the other. Now I've got the little ice age. This is brutal. The last part of the campaign, I'm not gonna lie, is just one massive debuff. And I mean a really massive one. Oh, okay. That means food supplies are going to be massively diminished. We're still getting rid of the peasantry rebellion now. And look at the amount of situations we have ongoing still. Our economy is also in shambles. I'm not even able to fully pay for my armies without completely crashing my economy. So, yeah, we're already buying 1,000 ducats worth of food. Let that sink in. And the Little Ice Age just began because I'm not able to focus on fixing my food issues because I keep getting rebellions every 5 seconds. It's still 5 more years to go until the first part of the court and country disaster gets finished. The second part, either 20 years or we do this. I feel confident we can do this, actually. Now, we can also rein in the nobles, which should give us a nice little curbed noble power for 5 years that increases our absolutism by 5. We've already done it for the religious and the commoners. So if we go over to our values, right now we have 51 absolutism and we have a max of 50 progression towards absolutism. So we just need a little bit more of a push. We need to reach 80 absolutism to be able to get rid of the disaster in 10 years. And so we don't completely collapse, because 20 years it's going to be brutal. But in my run so far, I've only been successful to get rid of it in 20 years. I haven't been able to get rid of court and country in 10 years. But maybe this is the one, right? Because we have the privilege bit, 75% estate power. How far are we from that? We are at 58%. We can get more of that from giving command of the entire army to our leader, and then maybe we get rid of some more privileges from the Asto or something of the sorts. I think it's doable. I think it's actually doable. Okay, finally they surrendered. Let's merge up all of our armies into one big stack again. Fortunately, I also have to mint a tiny little bit so we don't go into negative with our balance, so it's really that bad. And our subjects are also getting a little bit disloyal too, because the age of absolutism lowers their loyalty by 10. And they got really bad opinion of us too. So yeah, no expansion in the 1600s, even though we want to, because we got to deal with this. And another thing that happened is during one of the revolutions, somehow the Egyptians managed to claim these 2 provinces from my rebels. No idea how. I, however, noticed that I still have my claims on these. So we can attack them with the claim on Crete, which means we get minus 25 conquest cost for attackers. So in one war, we should be able to grab the entirety of this region simply because of this. Now, normally it should only apply to these provinces, but in the current version, it's bugged. Well, actually, I'm not sure if it's bugged, to be fair, because when I asked, they didn't reply. So I assume it's bugged. It's not how it's supposed to be. If it's how it's supposed to be, then I'm sorry to say this, but that's insanely exploitable. Like I'm about to exploit it when I attack the Mamluks next time, right? Now, to help us with the food issues, we can expand provincial food production for 5 legitimacy. This is 5 legitimacy per province though, so keep that in mind. We see here it mentions that province was not able to buy enough food last month. Before I decide on which provinces to help first, I'm also going to be sending some food aid. So Anatolia Iberian, for example, we can send some food from another province that has enough food production. Right now, Neopatras has enough food production, so we can send from Neopatras to Anatolia and Akarnaria, which is right next to Neopatria actually. That should fix the issues there, but yeah, it's pretty brutal, guys. It's pretty brutal. We can also enforce rationing policies, which for 10 years lowers the food consumption for all of our pops. It does cost a good amount of stability though, and it's per market. So we did that in our main market, which is the one we care about the most. We also see how many locations are currently affected, and in order for this to end, it has to be 1715. So we got roughly 100 years of the Little Ice Age. It's definitely a situation, I guess you could say. Hey, look at that, Kurdistan just formed. Oh my god, that's actually huge. I've never seen them form Kurdistan before. I also bit my lip and I took a loan so that I can upgrade all the food producing RGOs, starting with the livestock. Now we can of course use the max expand one. We can select whichever raw good we want, so we can click off the livestock now and we can say add wheat. There we go. This way we can only expand the wheat producing RGOs. Boom, max them out everywhere. You can also just hold shift and click on the individual market, and that's gonna do it too. It's up to you how you want to do it though. And then we do rice, but rice, unfortunately, I believe there's only 2 provinces which are already maxed out that we've got, and then honestly the rest of the food producing RGOs. All right, here's another one that's gonna help us out massively. We're gonna go to legitimization of power, and we're gonna switch to Leviathan, that increases crown power and absolutism push by 0.10, lower separatism too, so that's a really good one to have. And let's also change the royal decree, which gives plus 10 crown power and centralization, with the centralization of power that gives the same, but we get 20 crown power in exchange for the estate satisfaction reduction. Now, we also could get the extra 10% from the previous one if we switch from counter-espionage, but I really like the population assimilation speed. That's just like a little bit of a preference for me. I don't want to lose the assimilation speed because it's the reason why right now we basically converted most of the Turks and the Syrians to Greek already in a couple of years, right? If we go over here to Turkish, only 400,000 Turks. We converted 700,000 Turks that were in Sivas in just 3 years. Wow, that is actually crazy. Well, boys, another day, another civil war, courtesy of the court and country disaster. Now, I really cannot get rid of this disaster. I'm close to getting the absolutism and I got the privilege reduced, but I cannot reach 75% estate power. 60 something is about as much as I can do. I actually have been looking through the game files and I talked to the development team about this. Apparently, the amount of crown power that you start with when the disaster triggers determines how much crown power you're supposed to get. But because I already was playing so well and I had really high crown power, it's literally impossible for me to reach 75%. So the options are to cheese this before the event can trigger when the age of absolutism happens, lower your crown power so then you can easily get rid of it, or revamp the event, because I don't think cheesing has to be the way of handling this. I think lowering the required crown power should be the actual thing that happens. Maybe it should be like a set amount of crown power, because right now it's based off of your starting crown power when the disaster triggers. So in my case, because I started with like 50 something percent, it added an extra 25% on that, so I have to get 75%. But maybe it should be capped at 60% or something of the sort to make it a little bit more viable. Just an opinion. So if you're playing the game and you end up in this situation and it's not 75%, know that there were people that suffered before you, okay? Yeah, basically I have to wait for another 9 years before this court and country disaster finishes, unfortunately. That being said, another thing happened in the meanwhile. My little colony of crew decided they want to be brave, and they've declared their own war. War was started by crew on the 23rd of July, 1651. Crew didn't get the memo that we already have a civil war, for Christ's sake, and they attacked the Castilians out of all freaking nations. Like, why, crew? Why do you hate me like that? The Castilians right now have quite a lot of parts of the New World, because we have some nations in that war. We also see the capital of some of them, so we know that one of these colonies exists over yonder, and another one exists over yonder, and another one here, so at least we got that information out of the war. But yeah, I think the reason they also declared the war is because they consider the Castilians weak, since the Castilians have the Castilian Noble War. So it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, guys. What I have to do now, because I was about to attack the Mamluks, but what I have to do now is just finish my civil war quickly, and then I have to focus on Naples, peace out Naples, and then focus on the Castilians. It's not ideal, that's for sure, especially because I'm gonna get more civil wars during this 9 years to come. Now, there's also a patch coming in a few hours actually, and I kind of feel like the patch might ruin the save game completely, because the previous patch also kind of gave me some crashes in the meanwhile, and that's like 2 patches since I started this campaign, which means that I'm probably gonna get a lot more bugs and a lot more things that don't match, which means this is going to be the last part of the campaign. Whatever year I can end up with, that's going to be the last one. I'm not going to end up to 1836, unfortunately, which was the original plan, because I wanted to show you guys the imperialism CB and everything, but it's like an hour or two until the patch arrives, and I don't have the option of switching to an older version of the patch. That's not how it works with early access. You get what you get. That's it. That being said, I do promise you guys, when I'm allowed to stream, I will do a stream that will be full 1337 to 1836 on the 2nd of November, so do make sure you check it out. In fact, that should be out before this video is out, because this video is probably going to come out a few days after the game is released. So it's funny because I'm speaking a couple of weeks before the game is out to you guys that have been probably playing the game for a few days already in a video that mentions a stream that likely happened a few days ago. This is crazy. This is just next level timeception right there, boys. I've also made the team aware of this because this is not supposed to happen. And not only that, they also took this from the other subject that I've got. So this patch is gonna be a godsend. We really need this patch. We really need this patch. Oh god, our crown prince can either embrace Turkish culture and we lose 10 legitimacy, which is like 15,000 ducats, or we remove one of our cabinet members. That actually is one of the better ones. I have to do it. I'm sorry, but I have to do it. I am not losing 10 legitimacy and making my crown prince Turkish. We're also invading right now into the Neapolitan areas within the Balkans before we start shipping over our units to Naples itself. I really want to grab a big chunk of land from them. At the very least, I want to grab Albania, because if we grab Albania, we basically don't need to stress about Naples at all afterwards. Maybe we can even release the rest of this into whatever we can release it. Maybe Montenegro or whatever, we might have the option to. Wait a second, I just realized the 162 total piece cost, bro. I'm also going to queue up the Bastion. This is the upgrade of the castle from the 4th age. The 4th, 5th, and 6th age have upgrades for the castles. So that's a big leap from the 1st to the 4th age, but you really need the Bastion because as of the 4th age, once you have the 4th age units, and more importantly, the cannons, it is going to be a completely different game altogether. You need to have enough garrison to sustain an artillery barrage from the 4th age armies. Now, that being said, we kind of need to start marching into the 5th age advances. I'm not sure which one to prioritize right now because there's so many good ones. Especially, we want to get the advantage over hunters. Basically, by getting the hunter unit, we will pretty much crush any sort of opposition. I don't think anyone has right now 5th age unit. Similarly, there's new cabinet abilities such as increased control over area, not just over province. So one of your cabinet members can increase control in a big swathe of land, which is really good, especially if you have a lot of revolutions like us and like the French probably later on, because it helps recover that control a little bit quicker. As it stands, however, we can embrace the scientific revolution, which has spread to 49% of our locations. Same with the manufactories. Military revolution, however, has not yet spread to us, and that is primarily because it spawned in Cairo. So that's a big problem. The Mamluks have the military revolution before we do. That's also kind of why I'm worried that they might actually be embracing those units before I do, which might make it GG's for me. That's why I wanted to attack them, but because of the Castilian War, that's delayed for at least a few years now. I'm also chasing down the Neapolitan fleets, basically wherever they try and stay for the night. I'm landing my soldiers so we can wipe them out again and again. If they don't have any fleets to move their units between our islands and our mainlands, they're done for. Hey, look at that. We do have 80 absolutism now. We just still don't have the 75% estate power after 3 more freaking years. The brave men and more men of Rome have landed in the southern tip of Granada. That's right, boys. It's time we take Hispania back. I also absolutely adore the fact that in the late game, as you make your units more professional, the uniformity mechanic goes into play and you actually see the sprites having about the same uniform. There's slight differences right now. We're gonna have to drill them a little bit more and get the higher, more advanced units, but eventually they're gonna look like a standard line infantry in the next century. Well, actually probably towards the end of the age of absolutism, once we get the hunters and musketeers. Why is this 71%? No matter what Europa Universalis, man, I swear to God, I always get the worst freaking sieges. The Turks have been driven from Anatolia. Wow, that happened like 200 years ago. Why are we getting this event right now? Question. Is it because there's literally no Turks left, as in culture-wise? No, there's still some Turks around. Maybe because there's less than a percentage of the Turks? 255,000 Turks left in the entire world, actually. I don't know. I really don't know what made that trigger, but hey, look at our culture map mode, boys. Remember we started assimilating this area? Well, look at it now. It's almost all majority Greek, with some exceptions, of course, right here and there. A couple of pockets of Turks and Iranians, which are also Turks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have finally arrived at Naples. Let's barrage this particular location. Boom shakalaka, we got their capital. All right, we've got now more than enough war score for what we want to enforce on the Neapolitans. I want to show you guys something. Check it out. if we were to annex all of Albania, it would be 110 war score. We would not be able to do so, right? But if we are to liberate Albania, it's only 70 war score. Now, I'm also going to take some lands, namely the Serbian bits in Raska, and one more location here I think I can take. Can I unify my lands? I cannot unify my lands. Well, that's fine. 94% war score. We got one of them out of the war. We're going to give these out to our subjects in Smederevo. And Albania, we're going to try and diplo-vassalize. If we're not able to, we're just going to attack them once the truce is over, of course. Now let's focus 100% on the Castilians. We already have done quite a little bit of progress on them. How much would it cost us to do this? 91 war score. They're close to accepting because of war enthusiasm is like non-existent in their country. So that's because they've been having the Castilian nobles war for some time. Here's another thing that shouldn't happen. The French should not be able to join the Holy Roman Empire, which they just did. I'm assuming they did via the same bug that I did, where they had a rebellion in areas that were a part of the HRE and that allowed them to join the HRE. Now, because they are the right religion, they might also become the HRE emperor, which is really bad. Right now, the emperor is the Duchy of Cleves. What? Oh, wow. I thought it was Poland. Okay, we got more than enough war score now to enforce what we want. We're gonna take Majorca too, since we want the island there. And a little bit of money, whatever we can take. There you go. Boom shakalaka. First war against Castile has been a great success. We really did establish ourselves in the southern tip here of the Iberian Peninsula, and they still have their noble war going on. So we really did take advantage of them being at war with the nobles, let's face it. I feel like embracing a scientific revolution is cheap enough now. Let's go for that. And let's see, the very first technology is scientific revolution itself that increases Mac literacy plus 10%. And then we're going to push for the possible government reforms +1 from getting the constitution advance. And we're also going to push for the grand marketplace, which is an advance for the marketplace and the merchant quarters. This basically gives 2 trade advantage and trade capacity to owner +2 as well. So it's obviously a priority to rush for this, because then we're gonna again double our trade income from it. Right of the crown is also really important because this will allow us to get even more crown power. If we get absolute rule, we get an extra 20% crown power and increase for absolutism. And last but not least, modern road. In fact, maybe I should just do modern road first, because modern road's gonna make us have basically 100 control all over the Balkans and Anatolia. Because look at that, proximity cost -30 flat, market access cost, movement cost, institution spread, development growth. It is just, it's perfect. This is what perfection looks like, guys. I also want to mention a few more things here, including the fact that from the 5th age advances, you get a lot of ways of making your life a lot easier if you want to do a world conquest. I don't know if a world conquest is possible or not. I haven't attempted it yet, but I suspect it might be possible simply because of the advances and the way that from the 1680s to the 1720s, you scale so much and you add a lot of modifier stacking to a lot of different mechanics. Point in case, you get a lot of speed of integration, so you can integrate directly a lot of provinces. You also have the option of integrating an entire area rather than a province, same like we can with the control and with the culture converted and everything. So a lot of these really make a massive difference, because it means with one cabinet member you can affect a much larger area. Again, we're gonna go for the max literacy too, because we want to have as literate pops as possible. Cultural influence also makes it so it's easier for you by default to assimilate pops a little bit quicker too. Again, population conversion speed +10. So that's how many already? That's a lot of them, and there's more to come. This is just some of them in the 5th age from the scientific revolution, but there's more in the other advances too, including an extra cabinet seat once we finish unlocking manufactories that increase also your RGO size +10%. And in general, manufactories completely quadruple your economy. Not only does manufacturing allow a lot of advanced buildings, but it increases the actual output of a lot of resources. It gives more crown power. Estate power from cabinet position is lowered by 50%. More importantly, you also get access to the lacquer manufacture. Lacquer is something that all your pops will demand, and if you don't give them, they're not going to be as satisfied as they would otherwise. Unfortunately, lacquer is only available in Asia Asia at the start of the campaign, and you bring it over to Europe in the 5th age. That's right, the very late game technology, but once this is done, this is going to make you ridiculous amounts of money, which is why, of course, rushing for this also is really, really important. And getting this first in Europe might also make you an economic hegemon by far if you're not already, which you probably are. The monthly development plus 0.02 from the age advance again doubles down on making your country even more powerful. And again, from the admin focus, we get more population conversion speed. So like I said, admin focus kind of broken right now. Not broken, but it's by far the best one. So they need to rebalance them in my opinion though. Again, these are all my opinions. Keep that in mind. I also love the Alleviate Concerns technology or advance that lowers antagonism by 0.1 monthly. This is a cabinet action. This is so broken because in the late game, you assign a cabinet member that has super high, like 100 diplomatic ability, and you lower your antagonism by close to 0.2 per month. Per month! For the rest of the campaign. You just keep them on that one interaction so you can expand without any actual issues, because it's not like you're going to use up your diplomats to individually lower with every country. You have one guy that lowers it with everybody. Like I said, from the 5th age onwards, really I feel like the game is a completely different beast altogether. Oh, and as the Romans, we also get an extra 20% speed of integration, so we end up with integrating provinces in just a few months from 30-50 years, which is what we started with. Or if you have a lot of subjects, it's a lot cheaper afterwards once you put all of these modifiers to annex your one province sized subjects. That's why you want to keep them one province big or small, whatever you want to say. Now, I also didn't do something that I probably should have, but there's a reason I haven't done it. Namely, I haven't researched the Age of Reformation trade company technology. This allows me to have the trade company subject type, which is a subject type that you cannot annex. It's basically similar to how it is in EU4. It is a subject type that is meant to just make you a lot of money. It gives 50% of its income to you. 50%! Okay, keep that in mind. It is a lot of money that you get from these types of subjects, way more than normal. Usually you get 20% from your vassals and fiefdoms, right? And there's also a lot of unique buildings for the trade company. Now, I haven't done the trade company because I'm playing as the Byzantines, and honestly, until we start getting access to North Africa and we expand into the rest of the world, they're not really that viable. They're not. It's not that they're not viable, but I've got bigger priorities when it comes to technologies. However, I don't want to leave you guys in the blue here, and if you want to see more about trade companies, check out my Castile or my Holland video. I'm sure I've covered them in both of those. If the video's not out, then keep an eye out for it. It's gonna come out eventually, and I explain trade companies in detail in those two videos. And it's over, guys. The court and country disaster finally finished. It gave us -5 legitimacy once we got rid of it, and that's it. That's it. Nothing else. The worst situation / disaster in my opinion, but now we can finally start taxing people without worrying too much. So let's go ahead and start minting as well. We were not minting there for quite some time because we actually did mint to prevent a complete economic collapse, and that ended up with us getting 5 inflation, which we now mostly got rid of. So we can start again making money off of minting, as well as we can pay off our debt. We got 2 loans, insanely massive loans that we really need to pay off. Check out my estate screen right now. 3, 6, 26, and 0 power for the estates, and like barely any privileges. Bruh, I need to start giving back privileges. I'm gonna give expansion and zealotry for the clergy because we're gonna be attacking the Mamluks, and just because of that, we'll be able to get a little bit more stuff from them. And of course, we're giving back the population assimilation speed, promote cultural unity privilege. Oh my god, we needed this. The efficiency of cabinet also we gotta give back, and now we have to chill a little bit, no more for the clergy because everybody else is really upset about it. Oh, and guys, I didn't mention before, but our court language, which is Greek, has 100% language power. What is language power? Basically, it represents the influence of that particular language, and based on the language power, you also can get more research progress. Look at that. Liturgical language increases our innovation gain by 0.2 flat. Obviously, the liturgical language is, in our case, the Greek language. Cultural influence is 4,600, which means we are still the world hegemon for culture. After us, second by cultural influence is the Derlavi Empire with 1,100. So from a cultural influence perspective, we are above everybody else in the world by a lot. The French are third with just 1,059. And speaking of, the French have been really hard at work converting the northern parts of Iberia to Francian, which is kind of weird to see. Prussians saw a little bit more consolidation. I believe this is a new culture, Iraq. So I think a couple of different cultures unified into Iraqi. I might be wrong. Was Iraqi always here and I just never noticed it? My brain is so fried if that's the case. Holy mother of God, I need to take a break. I've been playing this game way too much. Nations can in fact create new cultures, so keep that in mind. You might be able to see Dutch as a separate new culture that popped out, or honestly just a lot of different cultures can potentially pop out of older cultures. So now we've gotten to the 1680s, guys, and we've got a lot of new advances that are helping us out massively, and I really mean massively. Also, we're about to get the subservient economy, which is going to give us monthly development push by 0.02, which is huge because right now we've got 88 development in Constantinople, but we're getting 0.09 monthly. So after that advance is finished, we're going to get significantly more due to all the different modifiers we've got in our country. We're also surviving the Little Ice Age surprisingly well, and in fact most of Europe is doing surprisingly well for that matter. Right now, 544 locations are affected within our country. And speaking of, check out how many cities we got now. We've got a lot more cities, and I really mean a lot more cities. I'm also expanding even more of these areas to cities, and the population-wise, our population is massively booming right now. Like, we've got areas with 100,000 population outside of the greater Constantinople, and control also has increased a lot, and I really mean a lot. We've got the random areas with 100 control, obviously cities with 100 control around. Hey, look at that. We also just finished annexing our last Serbian subject. So now that that's done, we can go ahead and assimilate all of the newly annexed areas from our former subject. We want to have everyone be Greek, and we've done the same with Kosovo, which we annexed a few years back. They're almost 100% Greek already. The amount of assimilation speed I have is crazy, and I really mean crazy. In classic Byzantine fashion, we will be attacking the Albanians so we can bring them back into the fray here. Clearly this is a rightful Roman clay, am I right? Because I don't really want to have too much of a coalition against me, I'm only going to take a little amount of the Serbian lands. I'm going to basically keep them as 2 provinces, which I'm pretty sure the Hungarians are going to annex because they're not going to have any allies once I get rid of Albania. And there we go. Still basically no coalition. Only extra nation in the coalition would be the Bavarians, but that's not really much of an issue, is it now? And I'm also going to be attacking the Mamluks right afterwards, because it's time we grab what's rightfully ours, isn't it? Our armies are on the other side of the area here, but if we don't attack right now, they will likely get more allies, because look at my antagonism map mode. The Neapolitans, well, I have a truce with the Neapolitans, but the Pope might join in the coalition, which they are also part of right now. So I'd rather just fight the Wallachians as an extra member of the coalition than half of my neighbors. If anything, that's more of a logistics issue for me. Seeing as we also have the option of upgrading our trade buildings, I'm going to go from province to province and do exactly that. I'll hold the left shift and left click. That way we max out whatever building is there, upgrade it basically. Look at that. We're getting 2.6 thousand from trade. Trade is our biggest income right now still. So just after the first few battles, we've absolutely wiped the floor with them. We got so much manpower too that we're going to be able to sustain winning these battles again and again. Whilst for the Mamluks, I highly doubt that they're going to be able to sustain losing 10,000 after 10,000 after 10,000 troops again and again like that. Like, look at this. They lost another 10,000 compared to the 7,000 or so that we lost, 8,000. Also, we have been working on exploring the New World, and we see that predominantly it's actually the Portuguese that have colonized the New World. And the thing is, it's not all colonized. We, in fact, can start our own little colonization there if we wanted to. So let's try and get a little colony next to Granada, shall we? I swear, every single war, I've got a couple of these sieges that go up to 78%. Like, why? Why can I not just get a regular 21% fall of siege like every AI has right now? Also, seeing as we've got access to the New World, we have the Golden Age of Piracy led by Captain Magnus Dengson, who's a Norwegian. This guy's got to have a really interesting backstory. This war's been dragging for quite some time now already. It's been like 6 years or something. I think after we get Cairo, we can just do a peace deal then. I would love to get everything all the way up to Palestine. That would be pretty nice. It's likely not going to happen though, unless we fight for a little bit longer. Also, at this point in the campaign, if they still have level 1 fortifications, meaning castles, like in this place here, it's basically free for the taking. Look at that. We can siege you down super fast. We don't need to worry about it. Why does Ludistan own this? All right, our superior units have crushed the Mamluk scum. Now let's go for this little capital of that province. And I think I might need to make a ticket for this because I'm not sure this is normal because I don't have any actual Ludistanians here. Now I cannot transfer this for myself, although I'm not going to take it, but it just makes no sense why this went to Ludistan. I'm getting the feeling that all the provinces here get automatically transferred to Ludistan. So I'm assuming that is because Ludistan's my colony in Africa and these areas are in the African continent. Ooh, that actually needs a really big buck ticket because I don't think that's normal. You know, we probably could end this whole war if we took a little bit less. Yeah, I don't mind taking a little bit less than that. There we go. We grab our lands that we lost also, and we grab maybe some more areas here. I don't think I need those though. I do need to let them keep one province that I can use to get my claims on again. So I think that could be the province of Naxos. We can even liberate a couple of these nations. Tabuk would work if we take less lands here, so I think that's worth it. Yeah, there you go. All right, that might be a little bit of extra coalition, but it's fine. At least we start to look a little more like the actual historical Byzantine Empire, don't we now? Now let's recover, because in a few years when the truce is over, I want to have my CB ready to attack the Mamluks instantly before they join another coalition against me. Why are they still occupied by Ludistan? They have a separate war with Ludistan? No. And what the hell is this? You know what this is? This is a ticket. Also, check it out, guys. We're making 4,000 ducats right now. It is wild, to say the least. I also forgot that I'm still a part of the HRE. I've got like so many bugs in this campaign that is incredible that I'm still able to run the same game, honestly. I was actually planning to do all the way to 1836, but I think I'm just gonna finish it here, guys. It's beginning of 1700s, and I feel like I've shown most of the features and the mechanics of the game. We'll redo a completely new Byzantium campaign in a week or so when we've got a few patches that have fixed all of these issues and the game is fully out. And we're also gonna play Byzantium on stream on the 2nd of November, so if you haven't watched that, go back to my channel. I'm sure you're gonna find the video somewhere from the live stream. Don't forget to also subscribe and get the game with my link if you haven't yet gotten it. Love you all, and I'll see you in the next one.